let's talk about Lattafa. Lattafa came in like a buttery storm of goodness into the market right around in 2020-ish, 21. They probably came out earlier than that, but I started noticing it right as soon as I started my channel, so YouTube channel, because I remember talking with Ross from TLTG Reviews. We had coffee at a Starbucks, and that's when the hype started picking up on Lattafa, and I asked him if he was gonna buy any, and he said no at the time. He didn't want to get onto the Lattafa bandwagon. I was in the same boat. I wasn't really sure if I was gonna get onto the Lattafa train. And then as it started picking up more traction and more people started talking about them, I think I picked up Lattafa's Assad first and Oud for Glory. I think these two were my first ones that I picked up. I know I picked up Najdia here, this one. This is a good, awesome, kind of citrusy, fresh. It's kind of in the ballpark of Invictus. It's kind of got a green kind of vibe to it, but this is a really good daily driver and it's very cheap. I think this is one of their cheapest fragrances that you can pick up. I know that this one, Izagi Silver, Intensive Silver, this is one of their really popular cheap fragrances. This is like $14 or so on Fragrance Buy, and I've gotten a couple of compliments with this one. It's pretty fresh, it's clean. I'm not sure what this is inspired by because it's kind of a mix between a lot of different things, but it's a very potent, ambery, like a ambroxan kind of smell, and it's got this like nice, fresh, almost zonic-like quality in here, but it's very, very potent. It's pretty fresh and clean too. It smells like a fresh fabric softener. The atomizer is terrible. And it's got that kind of Lannoy de L'Homme kind of lavender cardamom mix in here. So it kind of smells like the freshness of Lannoy de L'Homme, but it has this like green, ambery kind of take to it. It's pretty ozonic. This one is really good. This is Izagi Intensive Silver. I have not tried the original Izagi. I know that that one didn't really get the traction and the reviews online, so I really didn't pick it up. I'm a fragrance enthusiast first, reviewer second, and so I usually gravitate towards the things that you know, a lot of people are talking really well about. I don't really watch many fragrance reviewers anymore. Actually, I don't watch any of them. My life is consumed by making fragrance content that I don't decide to spend my downtime watching other people's content. Not to say that I don't, you know, care and love my fellow content creators, because they're cool. Some of them steal content and then they make it seem like it was their idea. We won't get into that. All right, let's stop the gossiping. We're not gossiping here. All right, but Najdia is really good, fresh and clean. Let me get a close-up of that. This one is super good. It's a fresh and clean Invictus kind of style. It's got a green herbal kind of vibe in here, and just really good everyday, easy to wear fragrance. All right, let's talk about the Assad line. I'm not gonna be talking much about the women's versions of a lot of these because I don't have A, significant other, and B, yeah, I don't wear women's cologne, women's fragrance. Anyway, let's talk about Lattafa's Assad. So Assad, the original, is kind of a Dior Sauvage elixir kind of thing. It's really potent. This stuff is really, really strong. It's got this like nice intensity behind it. Heavy spices in here. A touch of a vanillic kind of tone in here. Very, very potent. If you look at this one up on Fragrantica, the note breakdown is completely different from Dior Sauvage Elixir. But if you smell Dior Sauvage Elixir and this one kind of next to each other, there are subtle differences. There are, like, honestly, from my take, it's just formula tweaking. And that means just like their levels are just a little off, making it that much different. So it's like the same formula, it's just things are slightly changed in every directions, and then you get this. So it's a Lattafa's Assad is kind of a Dior Sauvage Elixir intensity, same kind of smell, that nice citrusy opening with, you know, that nice rich, I think there's licorice in there too, but it's really, really intense with the spices and just It's really good though. Lattafa's Zanzibar, this one I wasn't a huge fan of, and I'm really kind of not a fan of. It's kind of this coconut, you know, it's Zanzibar. It's that tropical environment. It's got iris in here. It's got this kind of coconut, vanillic, kind of creamy, powdery kindness, and it's just weird. In my opinion, this is the strangest of the bunch. And from the takes online, a lot of people, it's either you love it or you hate it. This is kind of a very, very divisive fragrance. You either love every ounce of it or you can't stand it. And I'm in the ballpark of, I really can't. Now I could wear Assad, the original. I haven't worn it in quite some time though, so I would be lying if I said I wear it a lot, but I don't. Lattafa Zanzibar, I don't think I'm ever going to wear this ever again in my entire life. I might wear Zanzibar one random day when I'm, you know, feeling generous and I want to give it another shot. Probably when I will wear it again, but right now I don't see myself wearing it in the future. So we're gonna set Zanzibar aside. And Zanzibar has a coconut creaminess, but the iris in there comes across powdery. So it's like a coconut vanillic creaminess. It's almost like lotion, like coconut lotion that's powdery. It's just the strangest thing. All right, let's touch on one of my favorite Maison Alhambra fragrances. This is Tabac from Maison Alhambra. I picked this one up a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. I think this was 2 years ago. I did a review on it and I like it. I like it a lot. It's got this heavy tobacco in here. I think there's a honey kind of accord in here and a fruity plum note in here. This one is really good. It's definitely divisive. This one does not, you know, have mass appealing written all over it. This is not a mass appealing gem that you would find in Macy's. This is a kind of a, you know, fragrance that might piss off Karen in the supermarket or Karen at your office. If you like tobacco fragrances, it's definitely worth a shot. It's like 25 bucks. You can get a nice tobacco-y kind of fragrance. It's pretty masculine. It does have a sweet nuance too. So it's not like totally patchouli, tobacco, deep, rich, dark. There is some sweetness here and there's a playful edge to this. So you definitely have that like sweet aroma, but once again, it's really dark. But the plum nuance in here, really good. It's sweet, it's fruity, and then the tobacco in here gives it like an earthiness. There is a little bit of patchouli character in here, giving it a touch of a smoky edge to it. Really good. Once again, it's like 25 bucks. And that's the glory about Lattafa and Maison Alhambra is the price tags on a lot of these are under 50 bucks and usually under 30 bucks, which is excellent. Now let's talk about one I didn't love at all, and I don't know how I really feel about this one right now. Anyway, this is Oud for Glory. And when I first unboxed this, I was so excited to get this one in. And I unboxed it and I didn't really like it all that much. And I went on to absolutely hating it. I digress though. It is pretty good. It's heavy patchouli. It's smoky, and there's like saffron kind of mix in here, giving it kind of a sweetness at the top. But this is a fragrance that you need to be familiarized with before you just pull the trigger on it and buy it, because this thing smells super strong patchouli and oud. It's just a really intense, dark fragrance that I don't really care for. I don't think, you know, I would not recommend this one by any means, but once again, it's 25 bucks or 30 bucks. You can pick it up, and if you don't like it, you can throw it into a gutter and have the rat smell like shit. All right, let's move it right along. One of the other fragrances I picked up initially was Intense Oud. This is Amir El Oud, Intense Oud. And I picked this one up initially, I think. This was one of the first fragrances I got from Lattafa in my whole Lattafa haul like 2 years ago. And this one is similar to By the Fireplace from the Replica line, if you're familiar at all with that. This one has that caramelized, sugary nuance in here, the nice sweetness. It almost has this smoky aspect from Gaiac wood. And it's got this like kind of marshmallow sweetness, almost like caramel, marshmallow, that kind of thing. It's pretty sweet. But it has that smoky nuance that stems from this kind of like campfire kind of aroma. So it's gonna smell like burnt sugar crystals with this kind of like nice woody touch to it. It's pretty sweet and it's playful, and it's perfect for the winter time, like in the cooler weather. Like if you're going out on a date and you're like, let's say you're picking up your date and it's a cold night, you get out of the car, first impressions on like say her driveway or the parking lot of her apartment, you're gonna be smelling fantastic. When this hits her, it's gonna be like amazing. Don't hit your date, but I encourage you to hit your date with this, the scent. Real men don't hit women. That got pretty dark.
I mean, that is dark.
All right, let's move it right along. Let's talk about, this one is Honor for Glory and Sublime. Let's talk about these two. And with Honor and Glory, this one seems to be pretty divisive across the board. People either love it or they hate it. This is a heavy, heavy gourmand fragrance. It's gonna come across kind of like a pineapple upside down cake or this creme brulee kind of thing. Really intense. It's got this pineapple accord in here, this like gorgeous, gorgeous gourmand kind of sweetness in here. It almost smells like a cake. But the pineapple in here, really well done. It smells pretty, it's very, how do I want to put this? Very unisex, but it leans a little bit more into the feminine department. It is pretty spicy. It has some spice to it, and it's heavy, heavy sweet. Touch of a woody kind of dry down, but the main thing with it is it's that like intense gourmand. This thing you could eat, it's that intense. That's the one thing with these bottles too. They all crack. The tops of the caps here, I don't know if you can see that, but the caps, they always crack. Honor and Glory, it's good. It's not my favorite by any means. I think it's a little too sweet for me. But then again, you know, this is why it's so subjective, the fragrance hobby, is because I really like Sublime. And people say that Sublime is a lot more feminine leaning than Honor and Glory. Sublime has this strawberry kind of nuance, this freshness, this sweet fruitiness. And it also almost comes across as this like hand soap fruity quality. This is a clone. This is an inspired by off of Eden Juicy Apple, I think the name of the fragrance is, and that's a very heavy, heavy appley kind of smell, appley kind of fragrance. And this one is the same thing. It's got that heavy apple. I really like it. I really, really do like it. I can see it does lean very feminine. It does lean into the feminine department. I only wear this really on specific occasions, not really in a signature scent kind of deal. It just smells so amazing that like when I spray it on, it's definitely like a fragrance that I really want to try experimenting with layering. I feel like this one could be a stunning layering fragrance, like with that sweet apple, that, you know, the fruity aspects and that lightness. Oh, it's so good. I feel like if I layered it with a nice deep fragrance, it would, you know, just add fruitiness, appliness to a dark fragrance. Even Assad would be a great fragrance to layer that with. I want to touch on Vintage Radio here. This is a clone or inspired by of me, Paragon. Lattafa's Vintage Radio here. This kind of took me by surprise. I actually bought Paragon from Initio because of the name. I picked this one up and I was avoiding it for the longest time because I was trying to like not buy it because like I was scared that this would be better than, and it is, okay, it is. I spent $200-ish on the Paragon. I still wear that one a lot more than this, but this is just as good, if not a touch better than Paragon. It has the fruity, the plum kind of accord in here, the Palo Santo wood, the nice and fresh musk in here, and that dark oud. It's so good. It's one of the best Lattafas that you can pick up. I mean, I'm biased because of the name, but Vintage Radio is such a knock out of the park. They did exceptionally well with this one. that I really would encourage you just to get this one over Paragon, because Paragon is so expensive. And if you bought Paragon, I would say sample it first, because you know, it is a pretty expensive fragrance. But if you really, really wanted to, you could buy this one as the sample. And if you really, really love this one to the point where you're running out of it, you could pick up Paragon. But there would be no reason to, because this is a very, very good inspired by. But I mean, once again, I wear Paragon way more than I wear this one. So mainly because I spent so much money on Paragon that I want to wear that one whenever I'm in the mood for this DNA. So it's a, I don't know, it's a push and pull kind of thing. But Vintage Radio is such a good fragrance all around. You know, it's the woody, the fruity, it's just amazing. All right, Camera. I only have the Koa version of this, the coffee version, and this stuff is fantastic. This is really, really good. I do not own Camera. The original, I don't own it because it was so heavily hyped. And I have this bad problem whenever something is really, really hyped, I don't buy it. And I don't know what it is about me. When something gets massive, massive attention, my dumbass says, oh, everyone else is doing it, I'm not gonna do it. I guess it's kind of like a, you know, a protesting kind of mentality. I have no idea. Anyway, I picked up Camera Koa. I really like it. It is so beautifully done. This is a special occasion kind of fragrance because there's no reason, let's be honest, other than being a fragrance enthusiast and a frag head, there is no reason you should be smelling this good just all the time, because it's just sweet vanilla. It's this cognac kind of thing, and it has this coffee nuance in here. It's sickeningly sweet. It's really, really good though. I can't recommend the original because I don't own it or tried it, but I can recommend this one, but it's pretty biased because I bought this one instead of the original, so I can't really, don't take my word for it, just try it out for yourself. If you have the original and you want an upgrade, I don't really, if you've run out of a bottle, maybe pick up the Koa version, but only buy this one if you like, you know, the DNA and you want a little coffee in it. That's what I thought to myself when I bought it. I was like, you know, I like coffee, so I'm gonna buy it. I will say though, the coffee vibe in here is not like tremendously done exceptionally well. I think that the coffee in here is just an underlying, you know, soft approach in here. I feel like they should have cranked up the coffee a little bit, but that's just a unpopular opinion of mine. Welcome to Paragon Fragrance. Welcome to Paragon Fragrance, where we don't pronounce things correctly. Speaking of which, Hayeta, that's probably butchering the name as well. All right, so this one is a kind of inspired by of this kind of Invictus kind of bubblegum sweet freshness. It's got some woody stuff in here as well, but the main thing is a musky, heavy, citrusy fresh, and this sweet, sweet vanilla ethyl maltol beautifulness. It lasts for a very long time. It's fresh and clean. It's like sweet, fresh and clean fabric softener. That's what you're gonna get with. It's pretty powerful, pretty potent. I like it. It's just, I gravitate towards my Invictus instead of wearing a cologne. And as like a fragrance enthusiast as myself, like I gravitate, like I have these clones, but I hardly wear the clones when I have the original. If I have the original, like Sedley, like this one, for instance, Marat Legacy. This is excellent. This is a beautiful, unstoppable fragrance. Do I ever wear this? No, because I have Sedley up there. I have Sedley sitting up there and it's sitting at my top shelf. I wear Sedley much more than I wear this. Now that doesn't mean that this is a bad fragrance, because this is really, really good. This is like 1-to-1. It smells like Sedley. If you have the original, well, I'll speak for myself because I know this kind of conversation, it's very divisive. If you have the original, if I have the original and it's sitting up on my shelf, sitting right next to the clone, I'm going to pick the original. I'm going to pick up and spray the original on. And you're probably saying, why would you use all your fragrance from your expensive fragrance when you have the cheap one? That's exactly the reason. If I spent a lot of money on my fragrance, I'm going to wear that fragrance. And that's the exact same argument on the other side. It's like, if you spent so much money on it, why would you wear your expensive one? Why not wear that one to these special occasions? Every day is a special occasion. You could die today and you can never wear your original. Life is so unpredictable. Shit has happened to me in my life that I have never even thought that would happen. That has made me want to wear all of my expensive fragrances all of the time. Life is too short to wear your cheap fragrance when you have the expensive one sitting right next to it. Anyway, but Marat Legacy is a really, really good fragrance, and it smells pretty identical to Sedley. I feel like clones exist if you want to smell, like if you want the DNA and you don't really care about, you know, cluttering your collection. I know that my collection is extremely cluttered and extremely big because I have a lot of these cheaper fragrances. But I usually gravitate, once again, towards my more expensive fragrances, the ones that I know I can't replace, or it's really hard to replace those, you know. It's a weird mindset, but you know, hey, it gets me through whatever. All right, so this one, I haven't talked about this one yet on the channel. I was gonna do a video on it, but I got this one like 2-3 months ago. This is Lattafa's, I think it's Caprice, yeah. So this is inspired by of Blue Electric, the famous Blue Electric. So it has the La Nuit de l'Homme Blue Electric kind of vibe to it. It's got this fresh lavender cleanness, nice cardamom, clean musk, beautifulness, absolutely beautiful. This has become my favorite clone of Blue Electric. This kind of nice, fresh, clean, it's spicy a touch. I say a touch kind of a lot, but it's got this fruity aspect too in here, this nice, beautiful tonka bean kind of accord in here. And it's so good. This is a really excellent, well done fragrance. It smells like the Blue Electric to a T. It's like absolutely so close to Blue Electric that, you know, it's like, this is, Blue Electric is like discontinued in the United States, so it's really, really difficult to find. This is, I enjoy wearing this so much that this one would be the one I would recommend. There's also King of, I forget what the name of it, King of Clubs, King of Spades or something like that from Fragrance World. That one is really good as well. I'm gonna do a video comparing those two later on down the road, probably in a week or so. But yeah, Caprice right now, Lattafa's Caprice, really, really good. All right, let's talk on the Maison Alhambra Parfums de Marly kind of fragrances. These guys here, I'm only gonna touch on a few. I really like the Perseus one. This one is a clone or inspired by of Pegasus. This one actually lasts a lot longer than Pegasus. I wear Pegasus a lot more than I wear this one, even though it does perform a little bit better. I get like 2 to 3 hours more with this versus my Parfums de Marly Pegasus. But once again, I wear my Parfums de Marly Pegasus over this one whenever I'm wanting to wear this one. But this is a really good fragrance. It smells identical to Pegasus and it's super good. This one, actually, I prefer this one to the original, and I like the, this is Kalos, and it's a clone of Cologne from Parfums de Marly. And actually, I really enjoy this one a lot more, and it's not a one-to-one clone, but it is so close, and the earthiness is toned down a little bit more in this one. It doesn't have that like really weird earthiness that the original one has. It's really, really good, and I actually prefer this one over the original because this one is a little bit fresher and a little bit more tamed down than the original. And that's a great example of like a clone gone wrong, but gone good, I guess. And then Hercules is a really good fragrance too. It's inspired by from Herod, and that one's a, you know, tobacco's kind of spice bomb kind of style-esque fragrance. This one is really good too. Highly recommend this one from me. And that's Hercules. Hercules is... All right, Lattafa's Fakar. That is not a cuss word. That's the name of the fragrance. This is a YSL Eau de Parfum fragrance clone. And it's really, really, it's very close to the original. It has a touch more of a spiciness in here, but you still get the fresh apple, the fresh bergamot, that amazing sweet quality that YSL-Y Eau de Parfum has. Also lasts just as long as YSL-Y Eau de Parfum, and so if you're looking for something that performs just as well, this is a really good option. And once again, this is a really, really excellent bargain for your dollars. It's like 25, 30 bucks for this one. The bottle is cool-ish looking. But once again, it's a fresh and clean kind of YSL-Y Eau de Parfum kind of concentrate in here. Excellent, excellent stuff. I wear YSL-Y Eau de Parfum so much. I've worn almost half a bottle of it, and it's really good. Let's talk a little bit about the Glacier fragrances. The Le Noir is a really good option. It's inspired by Jean-Paul Gaultier's Le Mal Le Parfum. And it's got this spiciness, this freshness, nice powdery iris in here as well. But it's a vanilla heavy fragrance. It's got this sweetness that you would expect with the original. It lasts just as long as the original, if not a touch more. And then Glacier Bold here is a Jean-Paul Gaultier Le Beau Le Parfum clone. And this is Glacier Bold. It's kind of got this creamy coconut, pineapple, woody kind of approach. I call it a masculine pina colada. That's my take on it. It's a heavy tropical fragrance. It's a tropical coconut creamy sweetness that is just beautiful all around. It lasts just as long, if not, once again, a touch better than the original. I have the original, and I wear the original a lot more than I wear this. I think I've only worn this like twice since I've had it. Versus my original, I wore that like 3 or 4 more times than this. So yeah, it's just, once again, I kind of tend to gravitate towards my originals than the clones. Another one that is really good is Cahiers Alforsan. Here, this is a kind of Creed Aventus mixed with Baccarat Rouge 540, BK 540. Really good. It's sweet, but it's also got this woody kind of oud kind of character in here. Really, really good. It's Cayenne Alforsan. This is also a really, really, really cheap fragrance. You can pick it up for like 25, 30 bucks. Let me know in the comments down below, what are your favorite Lattafa fragrances? I want to know. I want to pick up a couple more Lattafas, and I'm going to get your insights. So let me know in the comments down below, what are some of the best Lattafa fragrances out right now. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.